Hey, brand builders, ready to take your brand to the next level? I'm Dana Ammons, and welcome to the Brand Blueprint.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Brand Blueprint, where we sit down with visionary founders who are reshaping the consumer product space. I'm your host, Dana Ammons, and today I'm especially excited to welcome an incredibly dynamic founder, Chef LaToya Larkin, creator of Black Girl Tamales. Now, let me tell you, you're going to be really, really excited about what we have in store for you today. Chef LaToya has reimagined a beloved Latin American staple through a bold and flavorful Southern lens, one that I am very, very familiar with and very excited to try myself. She is creating tamales with collard greens, oxtails, and other soul food-inspired fillings. And she's taking this fusion from viral sensation to a fast-growing business with momentum across food service, retail, and direct-to-consumer channels. So yeah, that means you'll be able to find these Black Girl tamales either in a store near you, or you'll be able to order them online and have them delivered directly to your home. And we'll definitely be sharing more of her information, the relevant links that you need to follow her brand and her fantastic growth, as well as order some of her exciting products. Welcome aboard, Chef. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
But for now, we're going to dig into Chef LaToya as a person and a founder. She's got a lot of exciting and I think really informative information to share, especially with founders who may be sitting on the fence or a little undecided about whether or not they should actually take their side hustle as a full-time hustle. Let me tell you, Chef LaToya's got an exciting story about that for you today. So, Chef LaToya, are you ready to jump into the rapid fire segment?
Let's do it.
All right, great. Now, look, nothing to be afraid of here. This is really an opportunity for us to get to know you better. And I'm always excited when I get somebody from a culinary background on the show, because some of these questions just have so much more depth to them when I take somebody with your background and training and skill set. So right off the bat, question I ask every guest on the show.
Okay.
But I'm really interested to see what somebody of your skill set answers, which is coffee, tea, or something else to start the day.
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Any specific brand? Does it have to be like, do you have like a certain mix at Starbucks and you hit them with, you know, the special chef like coded like ingredients and method, or you just where you can get it, you get it? So
here it is. Like when it comes to the like a regular iced coffee, hazelnut iced coffee, that's my go-to. But when I go to Starbucks, I always get a matcha frappe with the shot of espresso. So that's
the matcha
at Starbucks. But like if I make it at home or if I go anywhere else that have it, give me a hazelnut iced coffee. It has to be really cold outside for me to drink hot coffee. Like I grew up, and I think it came from me and my mama. We was talking one day. We was talking and joking one day, and I think it came from like when I was younger. She'll make coffee, and of course she'll have hot coffee. And I want to sip, but she'll put ice in it to cool it down.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from with the iced coffee.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it has to be really cold outside for me to drink to drink hot coffee. Like iced coffee.
It's funny that you say that, because I think you're right. Like there's a Southern thing, right, about temperature and certain drinks that may traditionally in Midwest or North be consumed hot. But for us in the South, it's like, nah, we flip it and we do it. Because I even think of iced tea, and I remember going back and forth from the Midwest to South as a kid, and I would love to get back South where everybody made homemade iced tea, sweet tea, which was not something that people did in the Midwest, right? And so just that difference, I think, plays a lot. Now, staying in the flavor category, savory or sweet?
Ooh, I got a sweet tooth, so I do like sweet.
All right, that's newsflash here for the tamale queen. This is a sweet tooth, so we'll talk a little bit about your flavor selection and some of the products that you've envisioned. Now,
if you don't mind me throwing out a fun fact, I started out pastries. I started out being a pastry chef when I started in culinary. So when I went to school, I went to culinary school and everything, and I worked in a restaurant. So I worked on the line as a chef, but then my first job after culinary school, I worked with the company, and yet I was a pastry chef. So I did pastries. So I did pastries for about 3 years. Wow.
So,
okay, so I can cook and bake.
Okay, so no, I got to ask you a follow-up question then. So favorite pastry or baked item to make?
One of my favorite items to make, and here it is, it has a lot of versatility. That's why I like it. It's versatile to make, and you can play around with it and do a lot of creative things. Bread pudding.
Ooh, that I didn't think you were going to say that. I thought you were going to say cheesecake or something like that.
Yeah, I do. I do about cheesecake mousse. That's one of my specialties that I make. But I also like, and I think those will be the two because there's so much versatility you can play with those two. With bread pudding and and like cheesecake mousse.
And you're right. I'm seeing bread pudding and done different ways on so many different menus now, right? Where you never used to see it before, especially outside of the South. Like I never used to see it outside of the South. And then when you ordered it, it only came. I don't only see it in one of. Usually it would be a kind of that sheet cake kind of block. Form that somebody had chopped, a nice square for you, put it on a plate. And usually they would throw some whipped cream or some caramel sauce or something like that. But now I'm seeing like they come out in their own platters. They got different ingredients, right? Like definitely want to try a couple of your versions
of bread, like making it, and not just the traditional like French bread or just some white bread. You got croissants, donuts,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like that type of deal. So it's a lot of flexibility to play with, especially on the repurposed deal.
Now, given your multiple skill sets in both baking and cooking, and I would say kind of all those skills combined, what is one ingredient that you can't live without?
One ingredient that I can't live without, like food ingredient.
One food ingredient you can't live without.
One food ingredient that I cannot live without. Truffle seasoning.
Now tell us uninitiated that wouldn't really appreciate, because I know a lot of people don't fully understand kind of the taste profile of truffle. Like how would you use that seasoning and what should I expect from a flavor?
Okay. So with truffle seasoning, for one, it gets a lot of people because for one, it's a mushroom, comes from the mushroom. So a lot of people, I don't eat mushrooms. It really heightens the flavor and give it that like, hey, what's that? that type of taste to it. And it's like, and it's it's a little bit goes a long way. So long as if you use it the right way, it'll definitely, make the dish pop. And like I always usually keep some truffle seasoning on deck.
Nice. Now, would you advise? Where do you? Because I know truffles can be pretty expensive in different terms of where you source or etc. Where you get them from. Do you buy the truffles and then like break them down or shave them down, or do you buy the seasoning already kind of prepackaged?
I usually already get like the seasoning. It's already in place, like the powder. It's already already.
Yeah, already done. Right. Yeah. Okay. No, that's great advice from a chef, so our audience can take that one and run with it. Now, transitioning into your life and role as a founder and a businesswoman. Okay. Tell me, what is one of the business tools or platforms or apps that you swear by as a small business owner and a founder?
LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn.
And tell me more. Why LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is where the key players are at. Like, I can't stress that enough about people wanting to, like, I get it. We want to go viral on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff. And that's cool. If you got that demographic or whatever. But when you're really trying to scale and do some stuff, and even if you're not an entrepreneur and like maybe you're looking for a job or career or something, that is where the key players are at. Yep. Those are the decision makers. Those are the people that cut the checks. Like, that's where they're at. They may be on those other ones just to play around and stuff like that. But like for opportunities, business and stuff, like LinkedIn has really been it for me. I've had
and Chef, I love that advice. Can you give me a little bit more, and our audience a little bit more understanding of how you specifically use LinkedIn? Like, do you go in and just kind of post? Are you like chatting with people? There are a lot of people who I think have come into LinkedIn and want to treat it like Facebook. Right? Or like Instagram to a bit. Yeah. So talk a little bit about how you use it and how effective ways you find in engaging in the LinkedIn community.
The way I've found LinkedIn to, first of all, I think where a lot of people, where they get caught up at, they think like, because I've heard a lot of people, they kind of be intimidated by it. I don't have all this experience. I ain't done what you done did. Or I ain't.
Agreed. No, I hear a lot of that.
You need just show up, be you, basic. Again, like I said, if you're looking for a job or anything like that, that is where the recruiters are. The recruiters are on there. They want you. They want you to reach out to them. They trying to make a quota. Like we helping each other. They trying to make a quota. So hey, if they got a position and you up for it or whatever, that's where they at. Like on that job tip, and then also just like I said, opportunities. I've had when I was teaching and when I left from teaching, and I will post every now and then. That's another thing. You ain't got to post every day like you do on these other platforms.
Correct.
You can make
matter of fact, it might not be advisable for your particular needs.
Right. You don't even need to post all of that every day. And so that's another thing. Like when people think they making it more than what it is. It's real simple. Make you a post Monday, probably come through, maybe make one Wednesday, if even Wednesday, third, like whatever, but you don't have to do it like frequently. You're still going to pick up in the feeds. And then another thing, those keywords, like they looking for them keywords and stuff that you're looking like, whatever it is, whether it's the career, the entrepreneurship, whatever, these things are going to come up. I've came across funding opportunities, speaking opportunities, accelerator programs, you name it. It's just like, because again, this is where the key players are at, and they want. And another thing, on LinkedIn, they're serious. So that's where the professional. They want serious people. So that's why they're posting this stuff here and really, pushing it and blasting it there because they know it's a different level of people that's on LinkedIn.
I love that. I love that. I mean, as Chef, you specifically have a couple of key highlights, even a couple of recent highlights that you specifically wouldn't have found had you not been on LinkedIn, right? Yeah. Things that fundamentally are going to change the course of your life. And so we'll talk a little bit about this later in the interview, but I appreciate you bringing that up because, again, so many of us as small business owners and founders that are new, especially to the potential space that we're founding in or that we're innovating in, we're nervous about showing up on LinkedIn because we don't have the experience that the other people have in it. And they've been in it for 15, 20 years and we just got in it. I'm a home trained chef. I didn't really get trained formally. So I'm a little nervous about getting out there. As you said, Chef, don't be afraid. Like you got to get out there because one of the things that I've realized is if you treat it like a literal room, so to speak, nobody in that room is going to know anything about you unless you get in there and speak up for yourself, right? Like nobody else is going to be in there advocating for you, in front of other people. I'm in there talking to people about me and my clients, right? Exactly. And my interests. And so Chef is in there. She's talking about her business and the tamales. She's not, in there saying, hey, I got this friend, which is unfortunately what a lot of our counterparts think sometimes is that, hey, you in the room, just tell them you know me. Right. And you'd want to just tell them, like, I can't tell them I know you unless you standing next to me in the room with me.
Look, so I can bring you here. It's what you're going to do when I pull you in the room. And that's another thing, too. I'm one of those people. I'm always like, I get it. I just had a conversation earlier. This is so funny. Full circle, kind of one of them full circle moments. Like, we get caught up in the imposter syndrome. Like, we're supposed to be in the room and stuff like that. And it's like, if you're in the room, you're supposed to be there. Like you got to learn how to work the room and do what, what's needed. Because, when you look at other, like our counterparts, they're not acting like that. They in there working. They doing just what needs to be done. They speaking up on things that they need to speak on. And you just got to step out and just be like, one of my things that I realized on this journey, and it sounds cliche, mind your business. Amazing things start to happen when you literally mind your business. Like, stop worried about what other people are doing. Focus on you. Stop worried about I ain't got. Amen. Why are you worried about what you don't have? Like, build it up so that you do have it. And if you mind your business, you will eventually have it. So it's just one of them things, like, scale back and mind your business. Like, really do what you need to do because, again, it's amazing things happen. And that's something that I noticed with myself when I really zoned in and started minding my business. Like,
you was on.
Like I need a catcher's mitt to catch all the opportunities, you know what I'm saying? Like the catcher's mitt and the blessings, and then the people that's coming, the resources, all of that. Like, just start literally minding your business, and amazing things will truly happen.
I love that. That's why we have you on the show today. You already have dropped like an hour worth of knowledge in 15 minutes of the conversation. So with that being said, are you ready to jump into the main part of the interview today?
Let's get to it. Let's do it.
Hey, and there I say, you've already done a great job. I could probably call it right now and have enough content and enough advice you just dropped right there to last a lifetime for a lot of our founders. But I'm so fascinated. I want to start by going back for you. a little
Okay.
bit. Find out the origin story. Like, where does the superhero come from in Chef LaToya? Like, how did you start in this business? Did you sound like you had some education and background, and so you sound like you might have been in this space for a while. So tell our audience a little bit about how you got started and what led you to this point of creating Black Girl Tamales.
Sure. So I'll take it back to when I was 8 years old. I learned how to cook from my grandma. My grandma taught me how to cook. So
Nice.
My mom was a nurse, so she worked like those crazy hours of a nurse.
Shout out to grandmothers, raised me too.
Okay, yeah.
Shout out to grandmothers.
And so she helped my mom and dad out a lot, with us and stuff like that coming up. And so, and not even that, I grew up in the country, so we stayed in the country.
Yeah.
But my grandma stayed in town, what they call in town. So of course we always want to go to grandma's house because she in town,
Hey, that's so funny because I had the reverse. We stayed in town and grandma stayed in the country, but we wanted to go because grandma's air was always colder, her refrigerator was full, and the food was always better.
Look, that's the one. And then not even that, before our friends had moved out to the country, like all our friends was at my grandma's house. So we always wanted to be at grandma's house. So that was always a given. But yeah, so she taught me how to cook. Her story is she learned how to make tamales when her first husband was stationed out in California, right? Wow. And so a Hispanic lady taught her how to make tamales when she brought the concept back to Texas, right?
Yeah.
And back in that time, she was what they call the help, right? So she was a housekeeper, and so tamales was her side hustle. That was her side hustle that she made, and and she ran a little juke joint and stuff like that. But outside of that, those tamales, that was like her side hustle. That's what she was known for, was her tamales.
Wow.
Right? And so as I got older, stuff like she was the one let me pull that stool up, come over here and measure this and measure, and like let me cook. And then another thing, a fun fact that is my with me having a love for baking is government peanut butter. You remember the government peanut butter with the white thing? Yeah. Look, she used to get the commodity stuff, and so she always had like all this peanut butter.
Which we did too. Yeah.
And of course, nobody wanted to eat the peanut butter.
Yeah, nobody wanted that peanut butter. It was super thick. It would tear your bread up if you didn't understand how to exactly spread it. It could just rip holes in your bread. And even in that government bread, which was pretty dense in and of itself, you could just tear your bread up trying to put that government peanut butter on there.
And so what I used to do is I learned how to really bake, and that's what I really learned how to bake and stuff, because they had a recipe on the back of the can for peanut butter cookies.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, they had that peanut butter cookie. They had that recipe on the peanut butter cookie. So it's like, okay. So then I will, go to the store with her. My grandma, she didn't drive, so everybody drove her to the store and stuff. So whoever we go, hey grandma, can we get some stuff? I want to make these cookies. And yeah, you can go ahead and make them. And so made the cookies and stuff. And so I used to sell them I used to sell them around the neighborhood. Hey, I got cookies, and they'll buy the cookies and stuff like that. And then, like I said, she ran a little juke joint and stuff. Wow. So like the winos, they get joined. Hey, here, get you a cookie.
Yep.
And then with the tamales and stuff, she was always like, whatever you sell, you get the keep. Oh, okay. I get so if I sell it, you gonna let me? Oh, bet that's enough right there. So like the entrepreneur seed was planted, long, like
early
8 years,
and around food.
Yeah, and around
really
food,
amazing, too. Right? Like we probably could do a whole nother podcast on grandmothers because my grandmother also cleaned houses and became a trusted companion in the house of these richer folks, and people who watching the show know who I'm talking about. But she worked for some rich folks out west, and this was in Omaha, Nebraska in the late 60s, early 70s, right? During the civil rights movement, a lot of turmoil in the country. But to your point, our grandmothers are out there making it happen and putting food on the table, in certain cases in two homes. Right? In two homes, right? In their home and at home. So I so identify with that story and with where your inspiration came from. So, okay, so you start off with this inspiration and this grandmother who's nurtured this desire, not to just cook, but to monetize it, to be able to provide for your family through the things you were making. So now walk me a little farther forward. Where do you take that?
So then now, so we're just going to fast forward up. I have always loved to cook. Stuff like that. So when I got to high school, it was like, starting trying to figure out like what you want to do. And the thing about it is so funny because people used to laugh when I tell them I was either a nurse or a chef, right? So then the nursing thing got knocked out after the summer of 92. So it's like, okay, I don't want to be a nurse no more. I had to take care of my uncle. And that was like when I really realized, like, you know what? I don't want to be no nurse. I don't want to do all of this type of stuff. And then also that was back in the day when they used to have to go to work with your parents type stuff.
Yep. I remember that.
I used to go to work with my mama, and then again, she'll pair me with the people. Like, this is where you got to start at. And it's like, I do not want to do all of that. So let me cook. Let me just start out. Let me cook, and I'll be okay. And so, I did cosmetology for a year, and it was just like, I don't want to make a living. I know it's money in that industry. If you're passionate about it, it is $1 billion industry. But this is not what I want to do. And it hit me with culinary school. After I had graduated, because I took a year off before I really like decided what I wanted to do, and I worked. And I was laying on the couch one day, and I looked, and like this Art Institute commercial came on, and I was like, man, that's what I want to do, because it's like I've always watched the cooking shows like on PBS. You remember the Cajun dude, Justin?
Yeah.
Used to watch him.
Be like, woo-wee.
Yeah. Used to watch him and stuff. And so it's like, this is what I want to do. I want to learn how to do like all that fancy stuff. And, you know, and I want to be like, I want to do that. I watch great chefs on PBS. Like, this is it. And so enrolled, went to culinary school. So I'm professionally trained. So I went to school like straight out the high school. Like I said, just took that year off, but like 19, I'm enrolled in culinary school. So I've pretty much been a chef all my life and seen, you know, and then not even that. Back then, it wasn't cool to be a chef. Like now, it's cool to be a chef. You know, you got
Let me applaud you for having that focus and going to do it, because to your point, I came out of school in the early 90s, and I remember in the mid to late 80s, I was, you know, kind of on the creative path in my mind. I wasn't necessarily interested in going. My dad was a lawyer. My mom worked in the legal field, sort of in corrections. I wasn't really interested in doing any of that, but I also knew that I wasn't really, you know, I didn't want to be a doctor or any of these professional kind of paths that were going to require an extra 4 years after undergrad. Right. So I was kind of going in like with this real fuzzy, like, I don't know what I really want to do. And I think, you know, similarly, there's a point, I think, in which a lot of us find that our inspiration could have went a different way if somebody would have just said, hey, it's okay to do that, you know, profession. And you make a great point, is being a chef wasn't cool. Like, it wasn't something that even your parents, especially Black parents at that time. I remember my mom, me throwing it out there as one of the things I really like to do. And I remember my mom saying, boy, you can't make no money being cooking food for folks. Like, you're not going to make no money long term, you know, that. And so that kind of just shut it down immediately. Right. Yeah. And you persevered. Like, you clearly, like, despite the community, I'm sure some of the negative kind of responses you probably even got at home, you were like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm focused. And then you go into a space where I know there wasn't that many Black female faces in culinary school at the time. So walk us through that. Like, what is it like to persevere through spaces where you're not necessarily recognized or normally, you know, supported, and now you're in these rooms and you got to figure it out?
Okay, so first and foremost, before I go I have to give a shout out to my parents. I would not be doing what I'm doing without that unwavering support. They have financed my dreams. They have allowed me
shout out.
And, you know, and I know a lot of people don't have that. Like, when I told my mom and my stepdad, hey, I want to go to culinary school. And it was like, okay, cool. All right, that's what, like.
And they went with it.
Because their thing was, long as I'm trying to do something, they're going to always help me, long as I'm trying. So
shout out to your parents for that. What's your mom and stepdad's names?
Rosalind and Augusta.
Okay, Rosalind. Yeah, that's the Wyatts. Shout out to the Wyatts on the Brand Blue Print for being parents with the most.
They have always supported that. And I know a lot of people do not have that. I've had so many friends, like, and even when I was teaching, having them students, you could tell they want to do this, they passionate about it, but the parents, they all in their ear, you know, and got them second guessing themselves and not supporting it. So I have definitely the opposite of that. Like, they allowed me to dream, even to this day. Like, they steal whatever I need, and they got 10 toes down. So yeah, and
it takes a special breed, right? Especially from our community. It's so thankful for that, because to your point, we need to testify to that so that other parents feel the freedom to allow themselves to let their kids pursue their dreams, despite the fact that it might go against their better judgment. Because I grew up,
who you raising and what is in them. Like,
I grew up in that same, right? Right. And look, I look back at it now and I really appreciate the forceful hand that my mom and my dad and my uncle and my aunt all took in the, kind of guiding me to what I eventually did do. But to your point, there were other professions, including cooking, that I would have been more interested in had it been a more open environment. Now, luckily for me, I ended up finding my way to a passion in marketing and eventually, sales in the corporate environment that translated into entrepreneurship. But that wasn't necessarily where I started, right? And so I think you're right. Like there is this kind of anti, parental kind of attitude around just letting a kid figure it out sometimes.
Yeah, just let them figure it out. And that's what you gotta do.
Just letting them figure it out.
As hard as it is, and you like, even though you may know some of the struggles, but also the thing that I look at, and even with my son, like times have changed. Like it's so much stuff out there for them to do. Like you literally walking over money. Like if you've been down, you can pick it up. Like the opportunities are out there. So it's just like, that's why I'm a firm believer in, like, I'm just gonna support it. Whatever you want to do, I got you. If we need to pivot, we'll pivot. But
so now you go out of culinary, you've got this education background. Now, usually the process is you go work in some kitchens and you work your way up and you stage and you sous chef and you do all these different stages, right? And eventually you end up being like executive head chef or you open your own restaurant or whatever. So what version of that playbook did you decide to pursue?
So you know what, that version for me, it didn't go that way because again, as you opened it up, it wasn't a lot of women in that space. For one, like I said, when I went to school, it wasn't cool to be a chef. So it was that, like what you see, that traditional old school white male dominated, and then again, not even that. I looked at, so it's a term that they use in the industry, like who raised you, like who taught you when you learned stuff, after school or whatever. And it was white men that raised me because again, I didn't really see anybody that looked like me that would take to me like, hey sis, let me pull you, let me put you on and stuff. I didn't get that until I moved to Atlanta. So when I got to Atlanta, I did get that. But while I was here in Houston and stuff, I didn't have those opportunities like my counterparts had. And then the thing about it, it becomes one of those things. Now, I'm not doing the woe is me type deal. It's just the fact of just moving around it and just taking stuff in to be like, you know what, eventually I got to create my own seat at the table, which is where Black Girl Tamales ended up coming from, because it's like I'm not finna be begging and pleading with nobody for a seat at your table and this dog and pony show to see if I'm gonna be good enough to get in. But let me get this correct. The same stuff that these other people know, that's what I was taught.
Correct.
The same stuff, same skills, same techniques. I was taught these same things. I've worked in restaurants. I've led staff, all of that type of stuff. I've learned these whole opportunities, but no one's gonna say it. But like, it's always a cap out.
And I wanted to tease that. I'm glad you shared that and being very transparent because I want people to hear that, hey, things don't always go the way you feel like they should, because now you've got the education. Now you've got the validated certificate or paperwork that says you are legitimate in this field of study, and you definitely have, the ability to practice it as a business. And then all of a sudden you find, to your point, that even with the paper, even with the validation, even with the culinary school, you still are getting door after door shut. And instead of you turning around and being like, well, I'm just going to take my lunchbox and go home, you like, you know what? I'm going to pivot and I'm going to find another place in which I can create and I can direct and still move forward. So talk to us a little bit about that original, like, where did that initial hit you, idea hit you of, you know what, these tamales that my grandmother used to make, like, how did it happen?
Let me add this piece in right quick with Atlanta, with me going to Atlanta, because Atlanta.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta. Pivotal. We both have a lot of love to that place.
It was pivotal in my career. So when again, now I'm working in the industry, right, and I'm not, getting the pay, the recognition, and certain things. This is like, dang, like, what I go to school for? And it was just like, okay, well, you know what? Let me get another degree. Like if I go back to school and learn some more, then that. So at that time, the Art Institute, they were only offering like the diploma and the associate's degree.
Yeah.
And so I'd already got my associate's degree, and then they opened up a bachelor's. They opened up the undergrad, and that's what I always wanted to do. Go to school to get a bachelor's degree, but nobody offered culinary. And so it was like, okay, this is the time. And then the ones that were offering was Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, and Denver. And I was going to do Fort Lauderdale, but they cost of living, and it was like all them hurricanes. And it was like around that time, like hurricanes. And I was like, you know what? Let me go to Atlanta. And so went to Atlanta. Atlanta is where I got like where I seen black people like, okay,
Yeah.
I could do something. Okay,
Yeah.
y'all look like me, and y'all
Yeah.
in these
And
positions.
around what time or what year was this when you were going into Atlanta at that time? Like
This
what
was
years was it?
at the end of 03. I started school in 04,
Okay.
and I
Yep.
stayed to 06.
So early 2000s. This
Yeah, the
is
early
right
2000s.
around the same time frame. So
Yeah,
to your point, I mean, Atlanta changed both of our lives, and I lived
yeah.
there twice. I went to school there in the mid 2000s. I mean mid 90s, but then
Okay,
came back in the early 2000s. So I was
okay,
actually leaving Atlanta 2003, 2004 when you were coming into school.
okay.
But I can identify with what you're talking about because Atlanta was such, and still is, but
Yeah,
was such a vibrant and different city to be in as a young black person at
yeah.
that time, right?
Like
Because you just never seen that level of success across such a wide swath of people. Like I think people who aren't black hear black people talk about Atlanta, and they're like, what is it about Atlanta, and why is it that Atlanta, is so different for black folks? And the reason I would argue is because it's one of the only cities, especially in the early 2000s, where you had a predominant number of African Americans across an entire ecosystem. So it wasn't just in our normal experience in most cities, right? Even Houston, you have the black side of town, right? Or
right.
you have the black
Yeah,
mall, right? You
yeah,
have the black grocery store.
yeah.
In Atlanta, everything's black, right? Like
Everything,
so
everywhere you
you
go.
no longer lose that terminology anymore.
Yeah,
You don't say the black mall because you had Greenbrier, you got
yeah,
the Cab, you
yeah,
got Lenox. Lenox could be the black mall in
yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah,
Truth be told, so it became a really affirmative environment to no
yeah,
longer have to feel like you were, oh, I'm just going to go to the black side of town. No,
yeah.
you were going to just go to that side of town. You're going to the west
Correct.
side of Atlanta, going to
Yeah,
the west side, right?
yeah.
And so I identify with that now. So you're now finding this validation. You're getting on. What were some of your early experiences in the Atlanta market that really kind of made you go, "Oh wow, this is different. Like I'm loving this."
So, a couple of things. So, one thing, when I was able to learn from, and today now I'm so proud of Chef Daryl Schuler. He's a master chef, the one and only black master chef.
No
Um,
way.
in the world. Because
Yeah,
people they'll say master chef. It's like you ain't no
yeah.
real ACF master chef. 'Cause
Master chef.
for one, that test is it's like I think like a week
Yeah,
long test you gotta
yeah.
take, and then it's expensive. And everybody ain't invested in it. And there's people that have invested in it and they did not pass that first time around. So he did shots out to the Chef Schuler for teaching me a lot of what I know.
Daryl
And
Schuler. Daryl
Daryl
Schuler.
Schuler.
Okay, yeah. Shout
Daryl
out to
Schuler.
Daryl Schuler. I definitely will make sure we note
Yeah.
that in this
Oh yeah,
episode
and definitely
notes
check
because
him out. Like he's a
yes,
quiet, silent force, but when I say he deadly, and he got like his name carry weight for people that know him. They know him, but like I said, the one and only
well,
black
and you just
master
made
chef.
another good point. You're educating my audience and me
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
am a person who prides myself on watching a lot of the chef competitive shows, including Master Chef.
yeah.
And ultimately, right, that name is not necessarily the same title or the same sort of accreditation that you're talking about. And I
No,
think there's a lot of
absolutely
people
not.
who,
No,
right, who don't
no,
know, like me, who are like, I thought Master
no.
Chef was just a TV show,
Yeah,
right? So,
it's just a show just for them to give. 'Cause like I said, it also one of those things like you have some people that are like when they are professionally trained,
yeah,
they get kind of looked down on people that do say they're a chef, but where you
yeah,
go to school at, and then they start wanting to quiz you and test you and stuff like that and all that type of stuff. I think it's kind of petty when people have that, and it's like those insecurities and stuff. Because it's like, look, if we're here to do what we do, let people do what they do.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
not.
if they
I have
can
no.
do it,
If they could do it, I have no qualms with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If they had to take a different route to become a chef and that's what they want to do, long as they're actually vested and they're doing the things. Now what I do have a problem with is with people that call themselves chefs. And then when you start talking that language, because it's a language that come with being a chef, when you start talking
agreed,
that verbiage and they looking at
agreed,
you like, Scooby-Doo, wait,
agreed,
but you a chef
agreed,
though. How you don't
agreed,
know what I'm
agreed.
talking about?
Agreed,
I'm telling
agreed,
you, if you're gonna
agreed.
say you a chef, you need if I run you what mise en place. That's a basic.
That's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to say. Like mise en
That's a
place is one of those ones, right? Like where
basic.
I've learned it through TV, right? Like
Yeah,
I literally have learned it through TV.
yeah,
Now I know it now that I've learned it so much through TV. I kind of understand where it fits into the process and why I need to do it. Right?
yeah,
I understand knife cuts
yeah,
more so than I ever understood why
yeah.
knife cuts were so important, right? And knife
Mhm.
skills. But to your point, it's a language, right? And you can hear it even on the shows. You might not be able to speak it yourself, but you can hear it. You know legitimate language from non-legitimate chef language.
That's my only qualm. Well, like if people are talking about their chefs, and even if when I hear that, it's not, and like I said, it's not me being petty. It's just me being in chef mode. I'm gonna talk to you and say certain chef things, and it's just like, you're a chef, you should be able to keep up, and if not, like, we need to rethink this. But what made me actually outside of Chef Schuler, it was another chef. So we was able to take electives, right? And so I had got pregnant with my son. I had my son. And that's when I realized, like, okay, this restaurant thing ain't for me no more. Like these nights, these weekends, these holidays, like I literally missed this whole first year because then I'm in school too. And so it was like, and when I had that moment where the light bulb went off, like, okay, I got to do something different. I was at home one day and I was feeding him, and his daddy was like, Toya, he don't eat that. Wait, you gonna tell me about my baby? We gotta rethink this. I got it's too much. Like, you know what I'm saying? This lets me know I'm too disconnected. Working all these long hours and these nights and weekends and the holiday and all. I'm too disconnected. You don't tell me what my baby is. Okay, let's rethink it. And so when it was time to look up for the elective, personal chef, that was the elective, and it was like, let me take this personal chef. See what this about.
Give me the
chef that ran the class, she was the personal chef for that So Def crew back in the day. So she used to cook for all of them.
Jermaine Dupri, the Brad, Chris Cross, all of them. Yeah,
all of them. She used to cook for all of them, be on tour with them, and all that type of stuff. And so she was like, and then one of her things was, she was just like, look, I'm here to teach y'all, like, hey, if y'all want to do that restaurant thing, y'all could do that, because there's people that really do aspire to do that. They want to, work their way up and be in the restaurant industry. I think it's good if you do go to work in a restaurant for a little bit, just to learn some speed and agility and things of that sort. But she was like, but don't get it twisted. You can make you some money being a chef. People will pay you to cook for them. And so when we found, like, oh snap, she cooked for them, and it's like, okay. And so that's when it hit me. It's like, all right, well, let me start this, because I think this is what it is for me to, for me to do my thing. Because as you already know, when it comes to being a restaurant chef, you got certain constraints. They may let you be creative as they want you to be. You can't get in there and do what you want to do. You're gonna do. It's gonna be a cap at what you could do. So if you want to put something on the menu that you're passionate about, if the owners or whoever don't feel it, it's not going on the menu.
Yeah.
So now you just will be sitting on these ideas and stuff like that. But then if you're a private personal chef, you pull up and people gonna pay you to come in, and they want you to, they'll give you like an outline and stuff, and then you have that creative freedom to, well, hey, what do you
create what you want?
Okay, let's go with it. That type of thing. So that's what.
So you jump into personal chefing, and then
so
that's
where my first business started at. That's my baby. Not enough time. Personal chef services. That's where I started that at. And so at that time when I started it, I transitioned. I was working corporate, so I had like a corporate job. So I was working. I was an admin assistant in IT for Toshiba here in Houston. And so, because their U.S. headquarters for Toshiba is here in Houston. A lot of people don't know that. And so I worked in the IT department, and I was the admin assistant and stuff like that. And so that allowed me that flexibility, like, to build up the business and, go cook for people and stuff like that, and things of that sort. And it was like, okay, I'm still kind of young, so I'm not really working the environment the way that I should. Like, now when I look back at it now where I'm at, I wasn't really working the environment the way I should, but I still did a little, because at that time too, that was another thing. And I know I'm gonna hit a nail on this one. I'm reaching out to family and friends and people that I know to support me, not knowing down the line it's total strangers that's gonna take you to the top.
Eloise, can you bring that back one more time? We need to hear that again.
Now when I look back at it now where I'm at, I wasn't really working the environment the way I should, but I still did a little, because at that time too, that was another thing. And I know I'm gonna hit a nail on this one. I'm reaching out to family and friends and people that I know to support me, not knowing down the line it's total strangers that's gonna take you to the top. But at that time, just doing little stuff here and there. And so when my son got of age, when he went back to school, I got back into the industry. And so I was a consultant for child nutrition. So what we did was, and also shout out to Alfred Walker. Alfred Walker, he is the founder of Walker Quality Services, the only Look, only Black man in this space doing that child nutrition consultant in Texas.
Wow.
And so,
wow. Another pioneer.
Look, you need to get him on the show.
Another
How about
pioneer.
that? It's
Yeah,
so
you definitely, hey, make that introduction and we will get him on the show.
absolutely,
We would love to
absolutely.
have him.
When I say I learned so much from Alfred Walker, I learned so much from him business wise. It helped me break out of my shell, because I'm still, still a little bit young, still young and stuff like that, trying to figure some stuff out in the career phase and stuff. But so what I did was we traveled around the state of Texas, right? And we work with child nutrition department. So we got them to do like more culinary inspired foods, have the food looking real good, get the kids excited and stuff like that. Because also with child nutrition, that's how they get their reimbursements and stuff from the government. So, if they get more participation and stuff, they get more reimbursements from it. So we're basically coming in and showing them how to repurpose stuff and how to revamp stuff and, and make people get excited about it. Right. And so, and we also, it was a lot of resistance. That position taught me a lot because working there, it was a lot of resistance having a team of Black people coming in, telling them what to do. You got people that done been there since they done laid the first brick. I got shoes older than you, and it's like, yeah, but you're still gonna do what I tell you to do, because your district is paying me to come in here to do that.
To do it.
Yeah, and so working with Alfred, that also I learned a lot of stuff with business, learned how to close deals, learn how to network, learn how to talk, all of those type of things like that and stuff, right? And so when I got I had left from there because I kind of just got burnt out on the extensive travel and stuff like that, and I started grad school, and so when I left from there, I went to the Houston Food Bank. And when I say that position killed me getting up in the summers, because I was so used to having them summers off, and I was like, "Ooh, I got to get back into school some kind of way. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I got to get back." But I love working at the food bank because I work with probationers and TDC inmates. So in the mornings, I taught the TDC inmates, and in the afternoons, I taught probationers, people that was on probation. So I really enjoy that second chance type program because, again, I know for myself some of the things that I've done over the years. I could very well have a record, but I've kept my hands clean and I don't. So I get that for those who ended up you just made a bad choice. You was running with the wrong people and stuff like that. So that's why that's also part of my why of where I'm at now and why I do what I do and work with the people that I work with, because I get it. I'm not here to judge nobody and make it seem like this, that, and the other. I understand those things. And so I ended up finding the opportunity at the school district. A friend that I went to school with, he was a long-term sub, and he was like, "Hey T, what's your situation like? They got an opening here. They need a chef." And he was the first one I thought about. I was like, "Man, hey, put me in. Like, well, I need to get that." I was like, "Now I ain't got no certification." I was like, "I ain't got no teacher certification." I was like, "Hey, I'll get my certification. Whatever I need to do." I was like, "But man, this is killing me getting up in these mornings and these and this traffic and stuff." I was like, "I ain't gotta do it," because in the summertime we used to travel for conferences and stuff like that. So it's like, and then waking up
out of town.
Yeah, I gotta wake up early and be there early and all that traffic. I'm not trying to do all of that. And so I got on and started teaching, which that was a phenomenal pit stop in my career, teaching, working with at-risk youth, teaching that culinary. Because again, I don't care what happens in life, cat, dog, who shot John, everybody got to eat. I don't care what event that you go to, it's going to be some food there.
Amen.
Anything planning, anything monumental in life, food is going to always be involved. And that is why I became a chef. And that's why I always used to teach myself, look, people will pay you to cook for them. If you're safe, you got some food safety, some decent presentation, and your food tastes good, people will buy it. People will buy anything. Actually, that's something that I've really come to learn now is people will buy anything. If it's packaged up right and you meet a need, they'll buy it. But especially with food ain't going nowhere because it's like you need food. Like I don't care in what arena, whether you're trying to get fine and you getting back healthy and stuff, whether you got a wedding, date night, you want to do something impressive, like food is always going to be involved. So you're going to always have some type of work. Always.
Yeah.
And so,
no, you make a great point.
Yeah. And so ran that culinary program for 8 years, did that in COVID, pre-COVID is when it happened. So I went back, I had to go back to grad school because I had mentioned to you before, I left Alfred to go to grad school, but I had to, I had to take a leave of absence because I had a fire. So I lost everything, had to start over and stuff. And so, you know, and then plus I just started teaching.
A fire at home, a personal fire.
I had a fire.
Oh,
I
wow.
lost everything. I lost everything.
Yeah.
Like when I said we had to start over, we had to start all the way over. Lost everything minus the clothes on my back. And and I had just started at the food bank. So it was just like, again, trying to transition, getting acclimated with the position and stuff. So it's just like, all right, I'm gonna put grad school on pause. And so one of my mentors, she kept like, you need to go back to school, Chef. You need to go back. I was like, I'm gonna go, Annie, I'm gonna go. And so then I ended up going back to grad school 2019. So meal prep is popping because I meal prep for like my personal chef is popping, got good traction and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, cool. Took a few clients here and there, but I'm focused on my MBA for grad school.
Yeah.
And so we did a brunch. The students, we started doing a brunch. And so what the students would do is they would plan out a menu, invite mama for Mother's Day. We did a Mother's Day brunch. They invite their moms up and, you know, let them show out in front of their mama and stuff like that. And so we had some collard greens that was left over. And I told my son, I was like, and I had a meal prep container that had the collard greens on. And I picked that container. I was like, hey, son, I'm going to take these collard greens. I'm going to put them in some tamales because I used to sell tamales during the summer and then like in the fall, like winter and stuff, like when we had them breaks and stuff like that, that's when I would sell tamales, right? And so we was ramping up, getting ready for the summer. And so I said, hey, I'm gonna take these collard greens, I'm gonna put them in some tamales. And he was like, Mom, you tripping. Ain't nobody gonna buy that. Like, this sound weird. And I was
wait a minute. So before this, though, the tamales that you had been selling previously were traditional tamales.
Traditional. The ones that my grandma.
So you were making traditional tamales that your grandmother taught you, which was by tradition. We're saying, Mexican.
The chicken and pork.
Mexican, chicken and pork.
Pork.
That was the method you knew. You had done that for several years and had some success. It sounds like you were selling it to friends, family, people in your network.
Yeah,
so then what made you know that just this one particular time to get these greens? Because clearly you had made greens before, you had some of these other. And what made you all of a sudden
it just kind of hit me because we was making tamales. That's what it was. We was making tamales. We was rolling out tamales, and then when I looked when I was pulling out some of the stuff because I had meal prep some stuff I had my meal prep stuff in the cooler. And so when I looked up and I seen them collard greens, I was like, hey, let me throw them off of it, just playing around. And and they literally and it wasn't like a whole big pot of them, just a little bit, and they rolled out right at a dozen, right? And so and I was telling him when he was like, Mama, you tripping, ain't nobody gonna buy that. And I was like, it sound weird. We got a good thing. We need to just do what we do, Mama. We got good clientele. We need to just keep up with our chicken and pork. And I was like, but son, I was like, think about it. I was like, it's like cornbread and collard greens. And he was like, well, when you say it like that, that makes sense. But I just think we need to do what we do. And I was like, all right. I was like, okay. So then I rolled them out, steamed them up, called him over. Hey, come over here and try it. Now, mind you, my son been cooking with me since he's 3. He don't want to go to school and be no chef, but he can cook. But he been cooking with me since he was 3. And at this time, he was 14, getting ready to turn 15. He came over. That fat right here, that little part right here lit up. I was like, they good, ain't they? And he was like, hey, girl, let me get another one. Oh, you want another? I was like, I thought I was tripping though. All right, Mama, all right. I think we might be on to something. Oh, we on to something? I mean, I'm that girl tamales too. I was like, you're right, we on to something. And so I was like, I'm gonna take these. I was like, I'm gonna let my clients try them off when I drop food off this week. I'm gonna throw in the extra tamale, let them try them to get their feedback and see what they think.
Okay, so you sample through your meal prep business.
Yeah, sample. Yeah,
I've always very innovative.
Yeah, my clients are spoiled. Like I always throwing in a little extra. Tell me this, what you think about this? Just playing around and stuff. And so I had I was like, hey, what y'all think? Give me y'all feedback. Let me think. Hey, chef, you got to put this on the menu. I ain't never heard of nothing like that. A collard green tamale, and then
it makes so much sense to you. It makes so much sense. Cornbread and greens.
And you're right. It is like cornbread and collard greens because it's like, man. Hey, I think you got some, chef. You need to run with this. I think you need, and that's all I kept hearing from everybody. So it was like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, when I would go to the store, and get stuff for tamales, and 2 things, right? So one, when I go to the store and get stuff to make tamales, checking out. They looking at my looking on the, and then they'll ask what are you making? Come on, I got corn husks, I got masa. Like, come on now, you know what I'm making, but I know what you're getting at, but you don't want to say it, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I get it, and they'll be like, oh, I'm making tamales. Oh, you make tamales? Yeah, I make tamales. Like, and again, and so one day I just ended up saying it. I was like, I get it. I'm black. So you don't know a lot of black people that make. No. That's not. I was like, that's what I was like. It's okay. I was like, I'm not. And then she was like, well, yeah, it's okay. I get it. You know, you don't know a lot of black people making tamales, and then not even. And then I'm not Afro Latino, so you know I ain't got no Latin background. I ain't got no Hispanic grandma or nothing like that, or no family members that's Hispanic. So I get it. It's okay. And that's when it hit me. I was like, you know what? Black girl. I'm a black girl, and I make tamales. So that's what I'm calling the name. Black girl
Brilliant brand name.
And so now I was like, well, let me build on it, you know. So got my graphic designer, pulled up a logo and stuff. So it's like, all right. So now I'm running with the, you know, traditional chicken and pork, and now I got the collard green, right? And it was like, so that's when it started like branching out, like starting to think like, man, yeah, like I should turn this into like, you know, like let me see what I got here. And so this year. So my students, so one of my group of students, like I said, I taught at-risk students. So one of the things with a lot of my students is there was a fee associated with culinary, and everybody want to come in because they want to cook and everybody want to eat, but everybody ain't got the money, right? So what I used to do is a lot of my students, they came from food stamp households, right? So it's like, all right, cool. So what we're going to trade off is get this list of mama, I want to go to the stove, y'all bring this stuff in. And we're gonna cook whatever y'all want to cook. We're gonna build it, you know, tailor it to what y'all want to learn, you know, and try and teach y'all different things outside of what y'all know. Because I already know y'all coming in here with this regular Alfredo and brownies and stuff. No, we finna do some real stuff. So we finna build up a grocery cart. We're gonna, you know, fill up the kitchen and stuff with food y'all gonna bring in, and we're gonna learn how to cook and stuff. And it was really full circle teaching because they helped me build my business a lot, and actually they helped me build on some of them flavors too. But like even when I was meal prepping, I used to let them plan out menus. If I got a catering, hey, y'all plan the menu out, tell me what I should cook for them and stuff like that. You know, just empower them, boost them up and stuff.
I mean, it's really like, I mean, you were using live consumer feedback, right? In a loop that was allowing you to continuously improve your product. I mean, that's what big companies do, right? In a much more formal fashion, and probably spend far more dollars to do it. But you did it in a very practical way that clearly helped you perfect the formulas and the recipes that you were using to put together your tamales.
Yeah, and so we used to do teacher luncheons, right? And so like on Fridays, you know, they'll plan out a menu, and now when we did the teacher luncheons, that would be money I would pull from, you know, from what we had in our classroom and stuff for classroom funds, fundraising. But any of that personal food they brought in, that was for them, you know, for them to teach and some skills and techniques and stuff on food and stuff like that. So we had some etouffee. We did etouffee, shrimp and crawfish. We had 2 different etouffees, and we had some red beans and rice. And so one of my students, she's like, Mama, I think we need to put some etouffee in them tamales. Because you was talking about, like, you doing this thing with these tamales, these collard green. I was telling my mom about you doing these collard green tamales. She told me she never heard it. And then when I took her one home, you let me take some that pack of tamales home. She loved it. And so then we started thinking about some stuff. And I was like, okay, what we got? And she's like, I think we need to put that etouffee in some tamales. And I said, okay. I was like, talk to me. Tell me how. I was like, how we gonna do it? I was like, cause I was like, you know, we etouffee with rice. How we gonna do it? And so she's like, I don't know, like maybe we could put some rice in, like a little bit of rice or something, and make steak. I don't know, but I just think that etouffee need to go on the tamales though. So then another one, here she come out the woodwork. We ain't gonna do no rice. We're gonna take that meat and we're just gonna take like a little bit of the sauce, and then we're gonna chop it up, and then we're gonna put in the tamales. Because then that way, like you said, Chef, stuff gotta be bite-sized so it ain't too big. So we're gonna chop that up with a little bit of that sauce, and we're gonna put it in the tamales. And I was like, bet, let's run it.
Yeah.
So then we run that stuff. So now we let the teachers try it. So okay, all right, y'all take y'all favorite, because the one thing about I used to always have them, y'all feed y'all favorite teachers so y'all grades could be good, so they could be favorable. So I was like, hey, take these to y'all teachers and stuff. Let them try and see what we got, get the feedback. And they come back, and then according to a lot of they email, Chef, them smiles like, ain't never heard of nothing like that. We're gonna add these red beans and rice. The etouffee. And so then we did the red beans and rice. So again, same concept. That's like cornbread and red beans and rice. Like you already know. There you go.
Yeah.
So now we got.
I was gonna say you were probably about to tell us, but tell us, like, where's your portfolio now in terms of options and tamales?
So now at this, you talking about today or at this point? Right, I was talking about right now.
Today.
Today we I have over 25 flavors. And again, that came from just building up stuff down the line. So at that point, we got the collard green, smoked turkey, the etouffee, crawfish and shrimp, and then the red beans and rice, and then I came up with a vegetarian tamale because I used those beef, the beefless crumbles, those the crumble gardine
Yeah.
so we got the beef taco, the vegetarian beef taco, right? So we got these flavors, right? Well, going into so after I finished grad school and stuff, now I got more time to do more stuff and stuff. Well, COVID hit, right? And when COVID hit, my district, they went into a panic mode. I'm talking about like all my other friends and sorrows and stuff like that. They teaching, like they online, they logged in, zooming and stuff like that, Zoom calls, and we like 3 weeks in, and like we still, hey, what these kids gonna do? Like what we gonna do? Like we don't even know what to do. And so we logged on. We logged on for a CTE call, and so for CTE, for anybody that don't, that's career technology education.
Yeah.
Those are like those non-traditional teachers that didn't go to school for that, or like they're not content core teachers, as they call them. So we online and stuff, and so they was giving us the directive. All right, so the district said we're gonna do this and do that, and it was like, okay, cool. And I was thinking, I'm laid back, and this is when the whole Zoom thing kicked off, and so I got the camera off, and I'm laid back in bed, kicked up, and I'm thinking, I was like, dang, what else can I do? I was like, man, and then we got the note, all these restaurants done shut down here in Texas. So it's like, man, all these restaurants done shut down. Ain't nobody really like eating like that. Like, whoa. I thought my personal chef business was going to blow up. That's what I was looking for. I never even saw the tamales. Didn't even think it would be a thing because, again, I love to go in and cook for people. I love to do those date nights and like those private parties and stuff like that. So that's what I'm banking on. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be it right here. My private chef business is gonna blow up. Like date nights ain't finna end. Anniversaries are still here. Birthdays are still coming. People still want the experience. They still want to eat some good food, even though they can't go out to eat. Like, yeah, this is gonna be it. This is what I'm finna do. This is fixing to blow up. Tamales say absolutely not. I'm talking about just took off and did their own thing. So when I'm laid in bed, I was thinking I had made some oxtails that weekend, right? And I was like, oh, when we get off this call, I'm gonna take them oxtails and I'm gonna put them in some tamales. And so after we ended that call, I got up, ran downstairs and pulled that meat off the bone and put them in the tamales and steamed. I was like, that's it. Soul food tamales. I'm about to scrap these traditional chicken and pork tamales. I'm gonna let everybody else that's still doing their chicken and pork, let them do their thing. I'm gonna do soul food. Everything that goes with cornbread.
So you further focus your portfolio, right?
Yeah,
you found that you had a better.
I got the niche because it's like I'm not all over the place, like still doing the Mexican tamales, still doing this. Nope, I'm gonna let everybody, because again, that's what everybody doing anyway. They used to make tamales. They're doing
the traditional flavors.
Traditional flavors. So I'm gonna let them have those. I'm finna focus on these flavors here because again, ain't nobody heard of these flavors. Ain't nobody heard of no smothered pork chop. Ain't nobody heard of a smothered pork chop to my smothered chicken to my like these flavors. And so, and I grew up in East Texas, like so we right on the border of Texas and like right on the border of Louisiana. My mom's dad, he was from Louisiana, so it's like we grew up eating the boudin, the gumbo, the jambalaya, all that Creole Cajun stuff. We grew up eating it, and again, everything we had. Cornbread. We had a piece of cornbread on the plate. So it's just like it just made sense to start. So I just started adding in all the flavors that are indigenous to the Black culture. So yeah, not like so the oxtail. So now I got the soul food. And I have them broken down in sections, right? So now the soul food, my soul food portfolio: collard green and smoked turkey, smothered pork chops, smothered chicken, and the oxtail. Then I got my Caribbean, the Caribbean side of it: curry chicken, jerk chicken, brown stew chicken. I also have African flavors, the suya,
jollof. Love suya.
Yeah, jollof.
For those of you not up on that suya spice, y'all need to get up on it. It is
that's definitely something. Look, that's the one.
Get up on.
And then I have and then the Cajun Creole flavors: red beans and rice, Creole sausage, the etouffee. I stopped putting the etouffee inside, and like I do a loaded tamale. So now I top 3 tamales with etouffee and rice. So I also have an entree section. I also jumped into an entree sector as well. Again, like, kind of again repurpose them and changing them up because a lot of times people eat tamales with maybe some salsa or rice and beans or something like that. So it's like, okay, let's dress it up and play with it. So I top them with either the etouffee or the red beans and rice. And so,
that sounds so good.
Yeah, and then the gumbo, and that's another thing. People, how you put gumbo in it? Easy, just take the sauce from it, to scoop it up, chop it up, and put it inside. And like we got gumbo tamales, so shrimp and grits. Again, everything that plays, and that's where the disruptiveness comes in it, because it's like, and of course I've gotten the pushback like, oh, you ain't you trying to be Mexican? No, I'm not. I've never tried to say I'm Mexican. I'm not.
Right. And nor do I think you have to apologize for it, right? If you look at the world of culinary pursuits, how many times have I been to a Chinese restaurant and or any other, like, call it genre, and the brothers and sisters in the back were my Latino brothers and sisters, right? So like Mexican are cooking soul food, Black people are cooking Mexican food and Chinese food, Asian people are cooking everybody else's food. Like there is no more set tripping.
The first time I heard that, like I just had to shut them down. Like, let me keep it to you. First of all, I'm entitled to this. Let's start there. I'm a professionally trained chef. So that's what you learn when you go to culinary. You learn how to cook internationally. You don't learn, I don't know how to cook. They didn't just teach me and further on what I know about soul food and stuff. No, I know how to cook stuff abroad.
Can we hear that again?
The first time I heard that, like I just had to shut them down. Like, let me keep it to you. First of all, I'm entitled to this. Let's start there. I'm a professionally trained chef. So that's what you learn when you go to culinary. You learn how to cook internationally. You don't learn, I don't know how to cook. They didn't just teach me and further on what I know about soul food and stuff. No, I know how to cook stuff abroad. Okay.
Right, well, maybe look, the basis of fine dining and cooking is French, right? And you're not French, right? But they didn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, because you're not French, you can't really learn any of these techniques. We can't teach you any of it."
That part.
So true.
And again,
so true. So,
it's Black
chef, and I want to,
and
I love that, because I think what you have done is you're taking a program and you're challenging a thought process around how a certain type of food should be served. But in the process of doing it, you're also expanding people's culinary experiences, right? If I've never tried New Orleans or Cajun, and if I've definitely never tried African, suya, and I don't know if I heard you say or not, do you have a jollof rice one? So if you've never tried those flavors before, this could be your entry into those particular cuisines, which I think is, really brilliant. I'm somebody who explores a lot of different types of cuisines and foods. And so for me, that would definitely be something that would be appealing as well. Now, let's take it a step forward, because one of the things I also wanted to make sure you share with our audience before we wrapped our interview up is your experience in programs like Seed Spot and Retail Ready, where you've found some, as you said, on LinkedIn, other resources, you've been able to identify some programs that have really helped you along your journey in terms of growing your brand. Can you talk a little bit about what those programs have meant for you and kind of what you found that you got out of those programs that really helped you along the way?
Man, look, I'm finna tell. I've been saying this. This is kind of like this whole LinkedIn spiel. Man, people are sleeping on these accelerator programs. These programs are put in place for a reason. And again, it's like when you had that mindset of like, oh, I'm not. I don't know if I could qualify. No, apply. You got to start somewhere. And a lot of the programs that I have done have been phenomenal. I mean, it has been like a ripple. Like literally a ripple effect. And then not even that, it's like then when I'm working on some stuff, like these people start coming, these resources start coming, all of this type of stuff. The very first program that I participated in, and this is when I stopped teaching. No, actually, when I was teaching, I was in the Fearless Fund. I was in their program, right? And so just learning a lot of stuff, and especially like kind of getting the business legit and starting stuff, right? And so when I left, I got into Cornell University. So Cornell University, they have a partnership with Bank of America.
Nice.
The woman's entrepreneur certification, right?
Nice.
And so, and here it comes. This is one is that what number guy, right? I'm on the computer. I just happen to be on the computer, and I was in this group chat, right? And one of the friends, she dropped in the chat, "Hey, y'all need to apply for this with Bank of America and all this and that." So I hurry up and apply because I'm already on the computer, right? And then like I got in just like that. So then I started sending.
Wow.
Hey, y'all need to apply. Y'all need to apply. Chef, they said we're on a wait list. Oh, oops. I made it. And so yeah, I completed their program. This was I October of 21, because I left from the classroom and took that chance to bet on me in June of 21. So this is in the fall of 21. So now I start the program. And when I finish that program in February, Dana, I kid you not, like I said, a ripple effect. For one, the program manager, she puts you on this list, so you get monthly emails of every curate, like a curated list of opportunities that are out there. And I'm
funding.
Hey, I'm one of these people. I'm throwing it to the wall to see what sticks. So, and I'm applying, you know what I'm saying? I'm just applying for it. I like the technical, right? You know what I'm saying? Like grant writing and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, cool. So I applied. First one I applied, Goldman Sachs. I got into that one. I was the inaugural cohort for that the 1 million Black women in business. So
you were?
I was the
I know that program. Nice.
So got into that program, and then again, after that, got Heinz. Heinz got the $15,000 for anybody that is out there that is a that are in the food space of Black Kitchen Initiative, and it's actually getting ready to come up too. They'll send, because they usually send me an email and we start promoting stuff and stuff like that, and like kind of pushing it out there. But they do $15,000 for a Black for any Black chef, caterer. You got a restaurant.
Wow! And is that grant? Is that dilutable funding? Do you have to give up equity for that?
Look, they drop it in your account. And
non-dilutable funding. Wow.
Non-dilutable. Wow. You ain't gotta. Then you ain't even gotta give them no. I mean, of course, it's always good to give them a report and stuff like that, but it's not a requirement.
Right.
You know, it's just like they just gonna trust you, gonna do what you need to do with the money. So yeah. So got that, and then so with that one right there, that's how I acquired my cafe. So I had a cafe, so I was able to, you know, have the storefront and have the placement and the eyes on me and stuff like that. McBride Sisters, I got the link up with them, got my sommelier certification and stuff, break into that wine side, because it's like I've been a chef all these years now. I want to dig into the wine, like the beverage side of stuff, you know, to really learn how to pair and stuff like that, pair up the wines and things. Let me see who else. OVU, Be Good, like all of these organizations, they got money out there. Like that's why I say you don't have to. I mean, I get it if you want to, you know, tap out some funds, your savings, build your credit up. All of these things are viable and good. I don't take that away. But when I say these programs are good, these programs are good. I'm taking advantage. Any program that I see that I can take advantage of, I'm taking advantage. I
love that.
Of all the programs I've secured over $75,000 in funding, like just in various areas too.
Whoa. We need to hear that one more time.
I get it if you want to, you know, tap out some funds, your savings, build your credit up. All of these things are viable and good. I don't take that away. But when I say these programs are good, these programs are good. I'm taking advantage. Any program that I see that I can take advantage of, I'm taking advantage of. I love that. Of all the programs I've secured over $75,000 in funding, like just in various areas too, you know, from various, whether it's the resources that they do, whether they drop a stipend, or whether it's this, that, and the other. Because, you know, you got to look at those resources, because also if they give you the money, you're going to have to pay for that. You're going to have to pay for that source.
Amazing achievement on your part, Chef.
You're getting these free resources. Like, here's a good one I'm going to drop. I just got an email. It came Friday, but I didn't see it until Sunday night when I was getting ready for the food show. I got accepted into the Masters of Scale Summit. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, wow. No, I haven't heard of it, but congratulations. Tell us more about this honor.
Okay. So first of all, Master Scale Summit, it's a summit that was created. It was created by one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. Yeah. And so basically he just has like a lot of, you know, heavy hitter key players there, you know, pouring into, you know, into founders. And then they also, they grabbed up a group of like a small cohort of founders, like, okay, you're emerging. We want to see you win kind of deal. So we're going to sponsor you on some stuff. So they sponsored in October. I got a full expense paid trip out to that summit. A ticket is $7,500 to this summit.
Wow.
They foot in the bill.
Wow.
They foot in the bill. And
congratulations.
This is also one of these summits where you got the VCs in there, you got the investor. They're looking for the next big thing. You know, and it's about putting yourself in these rooms and stuff like that. And then it's like, you deserve to be in that room. And when I got the email, because I looked over it, because I scrolled, I was like, wait, it was like, you're in. And I was like, I'm in. Wait, let me open this up. And I'm reading, I'm literally
you
like,
got in.
What? Like, I'm just like, it was so wild, because this is like, I needed this. Like, this is what I needed. You know, this is one of the good
Congratulations to
things
you, Chef. That is
that's
amazing. You
coming.
continue to find programs that support you and successfully are able to
And I'm
enter
not
into
gonna
these
stop
programs.
because I think some people too, when they do these cohorts and stuff, they kind of get you know, the old saying, like, they get besides themselves. Oh, I done a program like, yeah, you done a program like that, but you haven't. It's different people in this group.
Yeah.
It is different
Yeah.
people that you have access to, and even how we met when I was in Seed Spot. Seed Spot was like a really short program, but that had to be one of the most impactful programs that I have ever done, for the simple fact the type of people they get, you get access to these people. These ain't
Yeah.
people that's just that you get to have a like they just on the Zoom call and then like, all right, we'll never hear from you again. No, you got access to these people. Hey, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm gonna follow you on LinkedIn. Hey, send me your number. Let's have a like, you got access to these people, and then not even just the people. These are people that can change your life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
No.
what I tell people.
Powerful organization. Shout out to Tristan and the Seed Spot organization.
Man,
Definitely
amazing.
Fantastic group, fantastic program.
Fantastic group. So
And you've done such a fantastic job of engaging in these programs because,
yeah,
to your point, there's a lot of programs out there.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of founders that I find that are taking advantage of them consistently.
they're not.
There are founders like once here, maybe one there, and then they leave that program and they really don't engage in the ecosystem anymore. But
Yeah.
you found a way to stay in the ecosystem and continually engage and find ways to grow your business. So
Yeah.
I love your story and what you've been able to accomplish. Now, before we wrap, I want you to tell our audience about some of the things that you've got coming up, because as you just mentioned, you've got this fantastic new recognition that you're about to engage in, but you've also got some other cool things happening. You got a relocation on the horizon here shortly. You've got a couple of events that you're going to be engaging in. So tell our audience a little bit about that.
Okay, so even this one just passed, but I have to share it because it's one of those full circle moments, right? So Texas Restaurant Association, they fall under the National Restaurant Association. So they had their food show here in Houston. So what they do is they'll jump around city to city and they'll host, different cities host it. So Houston was the host this year. I was able to do a demo on the Texas culinary stage. That comes so full circle because for years I've just attended the show. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to actually be in this space, and again, I'm finishing up all these cohorts and I'm fine tuning and things with my business and stuff. Now I'm in the position. It's like, okay, I can have these conversations with these people because I want to get into food service. I can have these conversations with people because I'm trying to do retail, and being in a good position at this time. And then not even that, people coming over to sample and trying doing the demo on spot and telling my story. Oh, I love your story. I love what you're doing. And hey, I followed you and I just checked you out and like, yeah, this is like, and it's just like, yeah, this is it. So having those type of eyes on me and being able to meet, and it's always been a good networking event. And that's another thing I want to drop to people. Start going to these conferences, like whatever business you in.
Man, the power of a conference is so underrated.
Like invest in you, make that investment. Like I know some of the conferences they do cost a lot, but man, like you got to get out of that. Like you got to know you're gonna get your money back if you in these rooms, because that's what it is about, of being in these rooms.
That is great advice, and to your point, Chef, not even just being a vendor but being an attendee. Right. So for your industry events, just attend. You don't have to spend the $1,500, $2,500 for a booth. You can spend the normal fee for an attendee, walk the floor for 2 or 3 days, get to know and understand who the competitors are, who your top customers are, what their needs are, and to your point, Chef, who the players are in that market.
That's what it all boils down to. I was
that is so true.
One show that I did this year was the Specialty Foods Association, because I had finished Maker's Prep. That's also a course that they offer, like again, getting retail ready, and that's why I was able to fine tune the recipe and start looking at different packaging, and all that type of stuff. We had our graduation at the food show, so the food show was out in Vegas. Again, we out in Vegas at the food show, and again, I'm not, and I had the chance to participate, but I had a lot going, like to vend and all of that type of stuff. But I just had a lot of moving parts, and I couldn't. And I was like, well, no, we'll just still come. Oh, I'm coming because I know it's going to be worth it. And again, the connections that I make, the people that I'm like, what? It's insane. And I hear a lot of people, like I said, that whole scarcity mindset. Like, man, you got to bet on you. You got to invest in you. If you don't invest in you, like, That's wild. You want other people to invest and give you money, but then you won't put no money into yourself. And it starts with little stuff like that, like attending them conferences and stuff. Because it is people, like you said, just walking the floor, hitting booth to booth, random ear hustling, random conversations and stuff like that.
Introducing yourself.
I'm big on that. Let me tell you how I had somebody that was sitting at my booth, that was sitting at the demo Sunday. That's what I did Sunday. Walk the floor, kind of got the lay of the land, see what my setup was going to be like for tomorrow. So we over here at the bourbon. We tasting the bourbon. That's another, at the restaurant. So everything is there. So it ain't just food. They got alcohol. They got tech. They got everything. Anything you need to work a restaurant, like food store, it's there, right? So we over there at a bourbon. We tasting some bourbon and stuff.
Yeah.
And this dude, he walk up and he get a chick a card, and he was like, "Hey, I wanted to give you a card. I love the presentation and your setup and everything. I'm a person. I'm in the industry. I'm in the film industry. I'm a filmmaker, and I give food and beverage products placement. I'm ear hustling this, right?
Yeah.
He was like, I get food and beverage products placement. I would love to, have a conversation and get the product. And so then the lady, she was like, oh, well, I'll pass it on to the boss man. And so I reached out to her boyfriend. I was like, hey, you heard him? And he was like, nah, it's a lot of noise. I heard him say something about placement. I was like, man, he get placement the food and beverage products in movies. He works for Paramount and Hulu and all the streaming services and stuff. Right. I was like, hey, we gotta find him. so we walked. He was like, hey, let's go in. Let's go. And we walked down, and I was like, that's him right there. And so then I stopped him, and he stopped, and it was one of them right on time. He stopped right in front of the stage where I was gonna be at. And so I was like, hey, I want to touch bases with you. I was like, I heard you in the bag. You were saying that you do food placement. I was like, I'm Chef LaToya, Black Girl Tamales. I was like, actually, tomorrow right here, I'm going to be doing a demo tomorrow. I was like, so I do fusion tamales. And he was like, okay. Talk to me and tell me about it. I was like, so instead of traditional chicken and pork tamales that I do collard green and smoked turkey. I was like, that's actually going to be in the demo. Smothered pork chop, oxtail. Oh, you can stop right there. I love where this is going. And he was like, so let me tell you this. He was like, I do give. He was like, a lot of people. It is expensive to get that placement, but I have ways around things, and I work with that. I definitely want to have a conversation with you. Here, take my card. I'm going to be at your demo tomorrow. Look, he was at the demo tomorrow. He was at the demo the next day, sitting in, came after everybody left. One of the last ones standing came up to talk. So it's those type of opportunities of like just being in a room and just investing in you.
Invaluable.
These type of valuable opportunities and these people that could help like literally project you and propel you where you're trying to go. So Tulsa remote. I'm going to be moving to Tulsa in September. A lot of people, again, Tulsa's wanting that. People are sleeping on Tulsa. They are giving money away to entrepreneurs. One thing that I've realized with Tulsa, they are very entrepreneur heavy. Their structure and their ecosystem, it is very entrepreneur and remote work heavy, right?
Yeah.
So you're a remote worker, entrepreneur, all of that, they heavy on it. And it's and it is such a good deal because they have all these little programs, these accelerators. And the one thing that I really liked about the culture in Tulsa when I went, it's like everybody want to see you win. Like I ain't running to it ain't no gatekeeping. Like you tell people, hey, I'm such and such. Hey, have you heard of? Let me put you in contact with it. That's all I heard the whole time I was there, and I was just like,
yeah. Yeah, they created a phenomenal entrepreneurial ecosystem in Tulsa.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. And then not even that. And then for us with Black Wall Street, they're rebuilding Black Wall Street. They want us there.
Correct.
They want us there to rebuild the modern day Black Wall Street to revamp that Black excellence. So and again, like I said, the money's there. So I'm super excited for everything that's coming with that. So got that coming. And then also going to that summit that's in San Francisco. So be taking advantage and going to that. And then also just tamale season getting ready to come up. So just getting warmed up for that, so. And lastly, I forgot Sunday, I'm partnering with Franklin Vineyards. So Stephanie Franklin, she is a Black winemaker here in Houston.
Okay, shout out to Stephanie.
She is launching her brand. So she started a vineyard. And we come to find out, and it's like that social media on a whim kind of thing. It's like, girl, we actually know. Like, okay, we actually relate. We got some roots. So she is from her family is from Newton County. That's the county right at the border of Texas and Louisiana on that I'm at East End, and then
Yeah.
I'm from Jasper. My family's from. I'm from Jasper, but my mama from Newton. So when I seen Newton County and Black woman, like,
You
wait,
knew.
Black
Yeah.
Vineyard, who is
Yeah.
girl? We might be related. And then we ended
Yeah.
up finding out it's like down, like we got some family members down the line.
Wow.
So we
Small
ended
world.
up partner. Yeah, so we're gonna partner. So I'm gonna do the food for Sunday. So she's doing her wine lunch on Sunday, and that's Franklin Vineyard. She does do the D2C. To direct to consumer and stuff.
So definitely check her out as well.
Absolutely
For
premium
people
wine,
listening to the show.
premium brand wine. Award winning. She's picked up many awards. At also with the Houston Livestock Rodeo Show, they do the rub event. So that's where they do the uncorked rub event. I was featured there a couple of years, but she was also won award winning wines from there on the tasting panel and stuff. So yeah, just the a sister in that space and that wine, that food, that beverage space. Because it's not a lot of us there in that space. So she's definitely doing some amazing things. So yeah. I've curated a menu, created a menu, and so we're going to do a tamale pairing and some of the other, some other tapas and finger foods. So.
Well, look, you have a lot of exciting things on the horizon. I love the fact that you are relocating to Tulsa here in the next couple of months and taking advantage of their fantastic entrepreneurial ecosystem. Again, for our viewers, you will be able to order from Chef LaToya via her website. We'll have that link available to you, not just as part of the show notes for this episode, but you can go to www.thebrand.blueprint.biz, not .com, because we're about that biz. So make sure you go out and check out the website. Chef LaToya will have a feature page featuring her brand and all of her relevant links, especially LinkedIn. So make sure you go out there and find Chef LaToya. We both spend a lot of time in that neighborhood. So if you are in the neighborhood, make sure you look both of us up, send us an invite. And Chef, I just got to tell you, look, I asked every founder that comes onto the show to drop a little bit of their blueprint for our guests and our viewers. And man, you dropped chapters of a blueprint today on the show. So thank you so much, honestly, for dropping so much knowledge. I want to have you back later this fall because I want to continue to follow not just the journey of the brand itself, but the journey of the founder. You are a fascinating individual. You have accomplished so much in such a short period of time, which tells me you got a lot more to accomplish. And so I'm excited to see what's on the road and in the future for you as a founder and as a business owner. And I'm looking forward to actually enjoying it. Just so our audience knows, as we wrap up, I will be personally flying back and forth to Tulsa this fall as I lead a workshop as part of WE Build Tulsa's entrepreneurial ecosystem. And one of the first things I'm doing when I hit the ground, Chef LaToya, you got to know, is I'm coming to find you wherever you are so we can have dinner. It's on me. I will pay for said tamales. All you got to do is actually put the elbow grease into putting them together.
Hey, it's all love. It's gonna be it's tamale, and it's gonna be tamale season by the time when you.
Oh, you don't say less. I'm coming. Look, I'm coming and planning on taking some back through my through carry on. So I'm looking forward to seeing you and trying out the tamales. And for people on the show, obviously I won't be able to share it with you, but I'll be able to give you some footage of that eventual time frame when I'm able to try them out myself.
And can I say one other thing before we close out? One other good a note for other people. Again, LinkedIn. I cannot stress LinkedIn enough. Like a lot of people, they've gotten away from business cards and stuff like that. I mean, and if they do have a business card, even the scannable or even a handheld old school,
they're not using it.
A lot of time when I meet people, hey, you got a card? Hey, well, let me pull up my LinkedIn. And it's like that goes to show you the power of LinkedIn that people are sleeping on. Like I just cannot stress that enough. Like if you don't take nothing away else from this interview and this listening to this, man, LinkedIn is where it is at. I'm telling you.
I love it. I love it. Look, Chef LaToya, you have been dropping gems all interview. So thank you for sharing your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your journey, because you could have been very, very private about a lot of things that you've already experienced, but you were very transparent with my listeners. So I so appreciate it. So look, everybody go out and make sure that you check out Black Girl Tamales, that you follow the brand, order product from her. This is how we support young emerging startup brands like Black Girl Tamales, is by engaging in the brand, and more than just lip service. So follow the brand, check it out. And she's really going to show you what cultural fusion looks like on a plate. And I know a lot of people kind of have these kind of perceptions of all these new fusion dishes, but this is the movement and the trend, and Chef LaToya is at the forefront of it. So make sure you check her out. Also check out the Brand Blueprint on all of your favorite channels and wherever you get your podcasts. Share, like, and make sure you subscribe. If you don't do one of those things, I tend to believe you're a hater. You don't want to be a hater. So make sure you follow and like our content and share it with somebody that you know could benefit from the advice that Chef LaToya dropped today. Thanks again for tuning in for the Brand Blueprint. We'll see you on another episode soon. And Chef LaToya, thank you again for attending.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next episode of the Brand Blueprint. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on the Brand Blueprint journey. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay updated. Watch the full episodes on our YouTube channel for an in-depth experience. Don't forget to subscribe to our website at thebrandblueprint.biz for exclusive content and materials. We're everywhere you need us to be.